Welcome to Extol Live, presented by New Washington State Bank and Cutter Woodworking. I'm Angie Fenton. Happy Friday to everyone. Thanks for joining us. Now, today we're moving it. We're all about health this morning. In fact, we have a couple of guests who are here. We had Addie Miners go to Mount St. Francis just to kind of see a bit of a walking trail that you're definitely going to want to enjoy, but also in studio with us, we have Carrie Klaus. She's known in the yoga community, that's for sure. Carrie's with Element Yoga and Ayurvedic Wellness. And standing next to her, we also have Janet Steffens from the Get Walkin' program, Purdue Extension of Floyd County. And we'll be talking with both of them coming up. But we're going to start this morning by dishing in the kitchen. We've got JD Dotson, who's been a long time part of the Extol team. JD, you were over here, I've noticed, lifting your microphone there. We're talking about health today. That's a huge thing in your life.
Yeah, I've been kind of on this health journey for years as I've gotten older and quit smoking about 15 years ago.
Hang on a second. So we wrote about JD and Extol, but if you missed it, I love this story. Let's talk for a moment though about, you didn't just quit smoking. Where were you when you decided that you were going to quit smoking, and what have you done since then? By the way, as he's talking, I'm going to just be preparing to a little dish that I keep here at the Extol Studios. We're on the corner of Market and Vincennes in New Albany that goes along with my lifestyle. But tell this quick story because it's amazing.
So I was standing outside smoking with a friend, watching the people do the marathon run by with my cigarette in hand. And I told my friend, I'm like, I want to do that someday. I'd love to do that someday. And I was probably 36 or so at the time, 37. And he laughed at me and said, "You're never going to be able to do that," which fueled me. Mm-hmm. So I quit and signed up for my first marathon, which was, it was a lottery and it was a New York Marathon. So if I'm going to win the lottery,
no big deal.
It was not a bad lottery to win, I guess.
So are you still friends with that person?
Yeah.
And what does that friend say? Do you ever bring that up?
No, but I should. I'm going to bring that up.
I definitely
should. Need to bring that up. So, but it's kind of the stubborn person in me. It's like, if you tell me I can't do something, I have to prove you wrong now.
So how many marathons have you run now?
I've done about 6
Gosh,
total, and then a bunch of halves and whatnot. So.
Okay, so I've got to show you what I've been cooking here. One of my favorite places, since we're here in New Albany, Seeds and Greens. They have these different pastas. I say that in quote marks. It's really organic cognac flour, oat fiber, and citric acid. I've shared before that I went vegan for health reasons. I have a A1C that continues to rise. I have diabetes that runs on both sides of my family. And so I'm doing everything that I can to stave off diabetes. That's something that I'm trying, at least on my end, to do the things for me. So I have been vegan since about October, really. I stopped drinking alcohol. It's been over a year. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary of that. I question myself sometimes in the midst of a pandemic, but I feel fantastic. So I always keep this on hand here. So I add those noodles. Again, I say that in quote marks. I prefer fresh produce, and we've got the New Albany Farmers Market, but I didn't have a chance to run there. So I always have canned tomatoes, diced tomatoes. I love mushrooms, so I always have canned mushrooms here. Got to get some of that protein, and I am a garbanzo girl. How about you?
It's a texture thing for me.
You don't? Nope.
I like it as hummus, but like that.
But not like this. Oh, I love that. I throw that in there, and then sometimes, on occasion, I'm not a big fan of corn often, but I'll throw that in there. And so I'm just letting all of that kind of just meld together a little bit. I've used some oil from the Olivet. This is a vinegar. I already used up the oil. I don't use any added salt. I do buy like some of those non-salt blends, normally like a Mrs. Dash or a generic. I got this one from the dollar store that's around the corner from here, and it's fantastic. I'm a little heavy-handed with the spices.
And I'm not a cook, but this looks like something I could do. So
it's just a big bowl of goodness. Now I'm gonna take my jacket off here for you for a second.
I'm enjoying your sparkle.
It's not the sparkle. It's not the flex. I'm gonna show you something here. This has to be one of my favorite products. I promised you I wasn't going to hurt you. So I want to add a little bit of freshness. And if you ever come to the Extol studios, which we would love to have people here, people drop by. We've got dog water, dog treats. I do like to add fresh things. And like I said, we don't have any fresh produce, although we're going to be cooking with Carrie Klaus coming up here in just a little bit. So we have all kinds of plants that are here. Right now I have sage, oregano, and basil. I killed the rosemary. I have no idea how I did that. How can you grow orchids and
easy
kill?
To do.
Terrible.
Rosemary, yeah.
But I say that because what I did was I went and I just chopped, and I'm somebody who uses all of the different spice. Like I use the stem and everything. So I have this handy dandy little contraption here. I'm going to move. Can you move that lid right there, JD? I'm going to put this over here. This is called the Salad Sling. And if you've been along on the Extol page at any point, you've already seen this, but I'll get this out of the way. So the Salad Sling, normally you would put salad, lettuce in it. But instead, JD, I've got my spices right here that have been soaking, because even though these are not dirty, I want to make sure that, they don't have anything on them. So they're soaking wet, and I'm going to put them soaking wet right in here. Then I'm going to put the Salad Sling up like this. And then, you ready?
Yep.
Ooh, happy Friday.
Okay, so this is, I saw that sitting back there and I'm like, she's going to make me wear that. That's something for my head. So.
You like that?
I do like that.
It's so much fun, and it's ridiculously fun. And it also does a ridiculously good job. My 5-year-old daughter loves it. My husband hates it. He absolutely hates it because I look ridiculous doing it.
I would like to see Jason with the salad sling.
Did I care? I did not. I did not care. But by the way, though, the salad sling I learned about from my friend Julie, who lives in Austin, used to live in Louisville, she and her husband. And it was her friend who went on, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose the name. What's the name of the program where people pitch products?
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Yep. She went on Shark Tank. So notice I'm just rough throwing these in here, not even rough cut.
How did they respond to it?
I don't know. I haven't watched the episode, but I learned about it from her. And if you can take a look, do you see that? It took all that water out, and how much fun was that? I mean, my heart's pumping.
And I'm glad I didn't have to wear it. So
you thought it was a diaper, but no, it's the Salad Sling. And I mean, feel that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm not getting any cuts whatsoever from this product. I just love it so much. And in fact, our friends Ryan and Brad C saw a video I did with this and loved it so much. I ordered one.
With it. That's the video they saw.
They did. I could do a lot of dances with that. It is all about moving, but it was back ordered. So hopefully Ryan and Brad, that will be coming in hopefully in August. So that's it. I mean, that's it.
I might even eat it, even with the garbanzo beans in it.
Ooh, I would not want to make you feel badly. But I will be here and I'll be working and I'm starving. And we like to support our neighbors, that's for sure. And so I will usually go out and buy things for other people and then stick with my vegan food. And then I just kind of let it simmer. And the longer it sits, the more delicious it is. So I'm going to put that off to the side for right now. And eventually we'll get it in to our beautiful bowl. And I know that that's going to get eaten. But before we do, we have, like I said, lots of other guests who are going to be here today. But can we just at least show
my bag?
So JD, knowing that today is going to be all about health, walked in the Buff Daddy.
This is my gym bag. I mean,
it's. Do you just walk around with?
I carry all this with me because I've got stuff. I need stuff.
So have you seen JD just hanging out on the corner? just waiting for a red light to turn green for the little stick guy to go.
Well, and sometimes you're places that you can't get to the gym, and I don't want to ever be that guy that makes an excuse like, oh, I don't have time to work out. You can carry that stuff with and take it anywhere.
And people fly you around the country as a stylist, so I mean, you know that you have to be able to do those kinds of things to keep it up.
A lot of times, some of the hotels, the gyms weren't open because of COVID. Right. So I carried that with me. I carried my jump rope with me.
I
gotta have
love
your
it.
stuff. So.
I love it, and I love you.
I love you too.
And we also love Cadella's. Cadella's, which is owned by Lori Unruh, is an amazing local company. By the way, I'm going to show you one of the many, many, many pieces. This is a bracelet. Now, I'm a volunteer soccer coach, so you can see that there are soccer balls on here. And then there's a little picture of my daughter and me, and then the one with Daddy, and yes, Goddaddy JD. And I love Cadella's, but Lori was on with us during one of our Treat Yourself Tuesday events, which you will be with Regalo here next Tuesday. And Lori is donating 10% of all proceeds from the month of July to the Jeffersonville Animal Shelter. So there's only obviously today and tomorrow, and then July is over. Lori Unruh, we love you. We appreciate you. Jeffersonville Animal Shelter, formerly known as JB Ogle, is fantastic. Sarah Green and her team are amazing, but those proceeds are going to help them rescue animals. And in fact, speaking of rescuing animals, we've showed this video a few times. Now, I am not above appealing to people's their empathy, your hearts, but there are two dogs that are looking for their forever homes, and you're a massive dog lover.
My house is full of rescues, yeah.
And you, JD, you share rescues on a daily basis, ones that you think you like really little dogs.
Well, I'm a little dog guy. I have Chihuahuas at home, and little in stature, but huge in personality. And I have this dream. I want all of my friends to adopt these dogs that come across my feed because I want them all in my backyard for a small dog party. So,
well, these two aren't small, but they're adorable. They don't need to have homes together, although why not? But Bruno and Roscoe are seeking their forever homes. They deserve forever homes. So take a look at our furry friends. And if you're the right home, they're at Jeffersonville Animal Shelter waiting for you. That was Roscoe and Bruno. And again, they're looking for forever homes. And I'll tell you, one of the best parts about having a dog as a furry family member is that they encourage you to get out. We have Janet Steffens. She's with Purdue Extension of Floyd County and a program called Get Walkin'. And Janet, I don't know about you, but dogs just have a way of making you get outside and get moving.
They absolutely do. My dog takes me walking about 3 or 4 times a day when I'm at home, so I can really appreciate that. Purdue Extension in Floyd County is kicking off a virtual walking program this week, and it's called Get Walk IN. That stands for Indiana. And this is a program where all you have to do to sign up for the free program is send me an email, jsteffens@purdue.edu, and we'll give that to you.
Definitely on our Facebook page.
And participants will receive emails, motivational and informational emails about walking for 12 weeks. And it covers the benefits of walking, how to start a walking program, how to keep from relapsing if you're in a walking program and maybe getting a little discouraged, and how to take care of yourself when you're walking as far as hydration and correctly fitting shoes, and then how to continue your walking program once the 12 weeks is over.
Why is that so important to Purdue Extension of Floyd County? I mean, there is an extension in every county, as you told me before we went live today, every single county. But I mean, why walking in particular and Get Walkin'?
Well, Get Walk Indiana was developed in cooperation with the School of Nursing at Purdue University. I should add that all of the programs that we provide are research-based, so it's not just somebody's opinion. It's actually based on medical and scientific facts. But walking is important because it helps your overall well-being, helps increase energy, helps people manage chronic medical conditions. Don't think because you might have a medical condition that you cannot walk. Almost anybody can. Just need to speak with your doctor first. It's something you can do without any fancy gear or equipment, just a water bottle, maybe a little sun protection, and definitely comfortable shoes. You can do it with friends or you can do it alone. And it helps cardiovascular health. It helps balance blood sugars if you're watching your A1C, if you have pre-diabetes or you're diabetic. It's good for people who want to avoid developing chronic illnesses. So those are some of the reasons that we promote it.
And it's free.
It's free, absolutely free.
It's free, and also I follow several doctors in a variety of fields on Twitter. I'm one of those who's very quiet. I'm a listener on Twitter. I don't engage on Twitter, but I follow several, and one of the benefits, I mean, of all the ones that you named, it also fosters creativity. I mean, they show you what it does, and so for someone who works in the field that we do, just stop for a moment, get outside. It just makes you feel better. When you walk though, so you have your dog, do you like to walk and talk, or are you someone who just likes to walk in the silence?
I do both. Sometimes I talk to my dog. In fact, if there's nobody else around, I will talk to my dog.
You are not the only one.
And encourage her and tell her what a good girl she is. And and then sometimes if I've had a busy, kind of stressful day at work, I walk every evening, usually when it gets a little cooler at this time of year. But it really does help me relax and unwind from the day. And I go home with an increased sense of well-being. And being a watercolor artist myself, I do feel more creative after I walk.
But so talk about this for a minute though, because all of us know, I mean, it's a collective, I think, feeling of what's happened since March 2020 and taking a look, and we're not going to get into COVID and all of that today, but we know what's happening. We know the stress people are facing in myriad ways in their lives. And so when you say, you know, you come home and you feel good and you want to relax and unwind, it is very easy. And a reason why I decided to stop drinking was because it was very easy to just go, oh, I have had a day, and instead reach for something that is not as healthy as going for a walk. What is that you would tell someone to motivate them? Because I'll be honest, at the end of the day, sometimes the last thing that I want to do is get moving. But you always feel better when you do.
You do. And I feel that same thing myself. I frequently sit down and relax because when I get home, it's still pretty hot outdoors, and I'm not a heat person. And sometimes after I sit down in the air conditioning, the last thing I want to do is get up and walk. But I know how good it is for my health. I know how good it is for my stress level and my mental well-being. And so I get myself up, put those shoes on, and get out. And I have a course that I like to follow. But that's one thing that the Get Walkin' program will do for people. When you have that feeling, you can look at your email, and there you will have another email about the benefits of walking and some inspiration. There are also some clickable spots within those emails, and you can get resources about hydration, walking shoes, what the recommendations for walking for adults are, etc.
One of the things that you also want to make sure that people understand is that when you're walking, you want them to be safe.
Exactly.
And for some of us, I've got to do it in the morning or it's not going to get done, before the sun comes up, or it's going to be later in the day. So you're wearing a handy dandy item right there.
Yes, I am. This is a neon reflective armband, as you can see, and these were donated by the Floyd Memorial Foundation. I'm a member of the Southern Indiana Nutrition Physical Activity Coalition, which consists of about 20 organizations in the area. And the foundation is always willing to contribute items to help motivate people to participate. So if you sign up by sending me an email for the Get Walk Indiana program, the Extension office will send you free one of these neon armbands to increase your visibility if you're walking in the evening. So if you're walking in the evening, you always want to wear light colored clothing. If you happen to have a reflective vest, that's good. But if you don't, this can be your buddy, and it can make you very visible when it's blinking at night. It really lights up the area. So we're happy to send that free.
Well, I knew that we were going to talk about some of the safety factors. I mean, I'm one of those who likes to wear black. It's black,
Me too.
or black is black, or the black is black in terms of workout clothes. But wearing something, like you said, light colored, I do have a reflective vest. It's important to be safe. Where's your favorite place to walk?
We have actually a walking track around the Purdue Technology Center. It's across, if you're not familiar with it, it's across Charlestown Road from Kohl's Department Store, or Mark's Feed Store. And it's free. You can park right there in the parking lot. Anybody can walk there. Many people walk their dogs there. So you're welcome. It's about 1.25 miles. And so just come out there and walk any time of the morning, day, or evening. I should add that if you're having trouble walking into your schedule, we have one staff member who always, without fail, goes for a walk on the noon hour. So there are many interesting places in New Albany and surrounding areas to walk, and you can build that into your schedule.
I've always you've got that phone, take it out and make it useful for something that's going to benefit you, and schedule that in. It's no one's business. I've got an appointment. That's an easy thing to say. I don't have to justify it to anyone, and then just go and do it. Well, Janet, one more time, will you give that email address, and we'll make sure that we share that on our Facebook page as well if people want to be involved with your Get Walking program. Okay,
absolutely. My email address is jsteffens, STEFFENS, at purdue.edu.
Well, we appreciate you walking right in here. I feel like you and I should have been walking
Thank
this
you,
whole
Angie.
interview here, right? Thanks for taking the time to join us. And we also want to thank our sponsors, including NWSB, otherwise known as New Washington State Bank, and Cutter Woodworking.
Hello, my name's Jerry Cutter, president of Cutter Woodworking. Just want to share with you where Cutter Woodworking is at today and why it is we think it might be helpful for you to consider Cutter Woodworking as a place and being part of our team. We're excited to be the second generation. Parents started a company in 1959 in the basement of the house here on the property that we're currently sitting. We have approximately 330 team members. Many have been with us for decades. Many are neighbors, and we are very excited and proud of that. We feel like this could be a place for those of you that's never considered looking outside of New Albany, Clarksville, Louisville. We would love for you to consider Cutter Woodworking as a place of work, and not only to have a job or to get a paycheck, but to be part of our team. We're very excited, we're very proud of what we have here at Cutter Woodworking, and would love to share that with you and see the opportunities and where it is that not only the company is going, but where you can go as well. We would certainly appreciate the opportunity to have you come and visit and take a day and just understand what opportunities lie possibly in your future.
We're moving it this morning on Extol Live, and now we have Carrie Koss from Elements Yoga and
Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic
Yep,
wellness.
right.
Ayurvedic. I swore I said it right, I think, in the very beginning.
You got it.
Ayurvedic wellness, which we're going to get into, but let's start with the yoga aspect. Yep. Of course, we have JD Dotson joining us as well. Carrie, people knew Inner Spring Yoga, right, and you underwent a rebranding of sorts. Will you take that away?
Did, yeah. So we're formerly Inner Spring Yoga, located here in downtown New Albany. We used to have a studio in Jeffersonville as well. But during COVID, I took the opportunity to expand my own education, and I became an Ayurvedic yoga specialist. And with that, I kind of wanted to rebrand and kind of fold all of those services into one, which kind of led to our new name and our new logo. And I also felt like it was just a really good time to rebrand, because during COVID, everything was changing for everyone. So everyone was just really used to change. And it just felt like the best time to kind of go ahead and make that change, and people would be able to more easily accept that things were changing for us.
You and I were talking right before we went live, and it's almost like a lot of us have rebranded our lives in a variety of ways. I mean, personally, what that looks like, what we want out of life, what we will and won't accept anymore, you know, in terms of our mental health and our physical health as well. But today it's all about health. Now, JD, what about you? I mean, in yoga, because you know that I am not a practitioner in any fashion. I'm a yoga rookie, but you are not.
I've done yoga for years. I probably should do more yoga now, especially that I'm working out so much. So I do realize that I should do it more, but yeah.
Can we just give a shout out though to where you do work out?
Butchertown CrossFit. I'm wearing the shirt.
You're wearing the shirt right there.
Yep.
And of course, your studio in the Kula Center, you're located right down the street from us here.
Yeah, 802 East Market Street.
We were just talking with Janet Steffens from Purdue Extension of Floyd County about walk-in. They've got a Get Walk-in program and the benefits of walking. But what are the benefits, Carrie, for yoga? I mean, do we have like a year, right?
Right. Well, actually, as I was listening to Janet, I was thinking like, check every benefit that she mentioned for walking. There is scientific evidence that shows those are the benefits of yoga as well. The physical benefits, the mental benefits. We also address sort of emotional. So yoga is really just a holistic form of movement. We tend to think of it in the West more as just the physical activity and exercising and, you know, sweating and working out. I like to think of yoga more as a work in. So we're not just moving our physical body, but we're really addressing mental and emotional components as well.
Do you ever have anyone have kind of an emotional reaction?
All the time. Yeah, all the time.
Normal?
It's very normal. People cry at the end of class. We'll always do some kind of relaxation at the end of class. It's not abnormal to have somebody cry during class. I get a lot of emails and letters and text messages after class. Just, you know, some of the things that we do in class, just moving our bodies. You know, they say your issues are in your tissues. So when we stretch and move, it really just kind of brings things out for us. Sometimes it takes people time to process that. So it's not right away, right after class. But sometimes a couple days down the road, I'll get a text message and say, you know, something that you said in class the other day was just, it really touched me, or it was really meaningful, or it really helped in this way.
How rewarding is that for you?
It's very rewarding. I love getting those emails and text messages and just knowing that I'm helping people to heal themselves in some way.
Okay, so you're going to put us through just a mini flow?
Yeah, we are. So what we're going to do today, actually, one thing about yoga, you know, I mentioned that we think of it really as physical exercise, but the physical practice of yoga is really about energy management. So it's not so much about building muscle and working out. And we like to glorify that it's all about stretch and getting bendy and being really super mobile. Which I think we kind of do to a detriment because that's not really healthy. But the main purpose of the physical practice of yoga is energy management. So we're going to work with that a little bit today and think about how hot it's been out this week and the types of poses that we can do that promote some kind of inner cooling so that when we feel frustrated because it's hot or we feel like we're, you know, blowing up inside, we're becoming a hothead, we can kind of cool that off a little bit.
Okay, so basically the feeling that I think all of us understand after everything. I mean, I feel like
We get it.
the simmering pot of the world is bubbling over.
Yes,
So
yes.
all of us figuring out ways to better harness that energy.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
JD, I'm
And
gonna-
I'll go ahead and just apologize for my bones popping and
Oh,
grunting, 'cause I-
well, in that
Yeah.
case, I may hold. I love that sound. I may hold those. Like,
He always says that quick.
I'm gonna put JD's microphone over here, and Carrie, you can go ahead.
All right. So we'll go ahead and start up at the front of the mat in what we call Tadasana or mountain pose. So the feet are just parallel to each other. You want to feel yourself standing equally on the four corners of your feet. Maybe just rolling your shoulders up towards your ears and back and down. So when we're working with energy management, we're thinking about the quality of summer where it's hot and sticky and a lot of us feel kind of on edge. We really want to think about working a little less, right? We don't want to just work to our maximum potential. So I like to say this time of year, let's just work to about 80% of what we can do. We'll do one more shoulder roll up and back and down, and then we're going to inhale and sweep the arms out and up overhead. You can clasp your hands together into a fist above your head, and we're just going to take some side bends. So when you exhale, you'll lean over to your left a little bit. And then when you breathe in, stretch back up through the center. And then when you exhale, you can lean over to your right just a little bit. And when you breathe in, back up to center. We're going to do that a few times, just back and forth, side to side. So I like to combine some of the principles of Ayurveda with the yoga practice. And Ayurveda says that we can clear heat from around our internal organs with side bends. So the side bending postures are really nice to do when it's hot outside. We'll go one more to each side, left and right.
I'm a little slow. I'm trying to catch up with you all.
That's okay. The slower your breath, the better, actually. Then when you inhale and reach back up through the center again, we're going to make a big swan dive forward. So separate your hands and fold forward. And then we're just going to slide the hands onto the fronts of the thighs or onto the fronts of the shins and just lengthen your spine like you're making a flat table with your back. Think about really lengthening the sides of your waist so your pelvis moves back and your rib cage moves forward. And then folding forward over your legs. As you fold forward, you might keep your knees soft. You can maybe even nod your head yes and shake your head no a little bit. Just like your head is a heavy weight and it's pulling your spine down in traction. The forward bending postures provide a little bit of cooling energy as well. They just kind of help to cool down those more intense feelings in the brain. And we're going to try to get the hands all the way to the floor. So you might need to bend your knees now, or you have two blocks next to you. You can take your hands onto the blocks. That's helpful. And then press both hands down into the floor or the blocks. Lengthen your spine again. And we're going to step back to a kneeling posture. So you're just going to come back one knee down to the floor and then the other.
Okay, Carrie, I have to stop for a second. So I remember at a point in my life when if I did this all the way down, no problem.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be stuck. So I want to use the blocks, but with further practice, can I get back to that?
Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. Really, that's the least important part. Remember I said we kind of glorify mobility a little bit, and sometimes having more stability and more strength is a good thing.
So that's key.
Yeah, and also just as we age, the shapes of our bones change, and that kind of limits how we can move. So I like to use things like blocks and straps and bolsters just to make the practice more accessible as our bodies change.
So I'm not failing.
You're not failing.
Okay.
No.
My day's made.
You can keep your hands on the block or you can take them down to the floor. And we're just going to move through some mobility exercises for the spine. So we'll inhale and lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the chest like you're making a back bend. Here we call this the cow pose. And then when you exhale, you'll tuck your tailbone under, round your spine up towards the ceiling and take your chin to your chest. We call this one the cat pose. And then we just go back and forth with the breath. So when you inhale, you extend your spine in the back bending shape. And when you exhale, you round your spine in the forward bending shape. And after about 3, 4, 5 rounds of moving back and forth, you'll start to feel your spine open up a little bit. So at first it feels kind of like everything moves as one big chunk. And then you can start to feel individual joints start to move or articulate. Nice. We'll do one more like that. So you can inhale and extend and then exhale and flex. Good, and then we'll come back to neutral. I like to use the blocks for this next one. We're gonna step 1 foot forward and come into a lunge. So I take the hands up onto the highest level of blocks and step, we'll do the right foot forward first. You could keep your hands down on the ground and just step your right foot forward in between your hands. Now we're gonna add a little bit of movement here. So when we inhale, we're gonna shift the knee forward, let the front of the left thigh drop down towards the floor and stretch the front of the left hip flexor. We do a lot of sitting during the day, you got it. We do a lot of sitting during the day, so it's real nice to open the front of the body. And then when we exhale, we're gonna shift back and straighten the front leg and fold over.
So, okay, question for
Yes.
you as we're doing this. So I noticed that, I mean, I'm those of you who are watching with us can't see, but I can see a monitor, so I can actually see what Carrie is doing. Instead of JD makes a better door than a window, obviously, but he seems to be moving almost in sync with you because, like he said, he's practiced
Yes.
for so many years. Is at a certain point, is that what people learn once they do this with you?
Yeah, they will. So what JD's doing is just following his breath, right? So 1 movement per breath. And it doesn't matter so much if you're inhaling or exhaling when you're moving. It's about syncing up the movement of your body and your breath and learning how to slow down your breath and how to slow down your movement. We move through life really quickly, one thing to the next. And a lot of what we're trying to do in yoga is retrain the nervous system so that we learn to be a little bit slower through life. So we can do 1 more straight leg here.
Also, I did squats yesterday and I'm really sore. So this is actually
Feels good, doesn't it? 1 more bent knee. We're gonna come back into the lunge, and then if you're using a block, you can just take it back next to your right hip. We're gonna take that right hand down onto the block, stretch the left arm up beside the ear, and get another good side bend. So you're gonna lean over towards your right. Your right elbow might bend a little bit. You might even be able to lower the block down or even get rid of it altogether and take your right hand all the way down towards the floor. Good, and then sometimes it feels good to twist, taking your chest up towards the ceiling. And maybe even a little bit down towards the floor. You'll feel a nice stretch on the back of your left shoulder as you twist. So one of the things that I like to promote in the classes that I teach is some freedom of movement. You're never stuck in one pose or another. You can always kind of shift and move, make it a little more dynamic and make it your own. We're gonna come back up, make sure we do the second side so we can keep everything balanced. So we're gonna slide that right knee back and step the left foot forward. And then again, with hands on blocks, you can take them on the floor. We're just gonna inhale and shift the hips forward. And then when you exhale, straighten that leg, shift the hips back. And just for a couple of rounds, try to move with your breath. When you inhale, you rock forward. And when you exhale, you rock back. Good. A couple more times, forward and back. See, you're getting it there. You're in sync now.
Well, when we watch a replay of this, you'll see me in the other one. I have some bruises. I've got a 5-year-old, let's just say that. And I have some bruises, so the front of my shins do not feel fantastic.
Yeah, well, one thing that we do for that when we're in the studio, because we have a lot of props there, is provide blankets. So you can put some blankets underneath and it's a little bit softer. Yeah.
I should have brought my blankets.
Good. This time we're going to take that block back next to the left hip. You can keep it at the highest height or lower it down. Take your right arm up beside your ear. And then when you exhale, lean over to your left. And again, you can lower the block down or get rid of it altogether. It just depends on the length of your arms.
Okay, so what happens though? I mean, you're so graceful. JD's so graceful. I'm pretending I'm so graceful. Do you ever have people who just fall out? Like, how do you? Because I'm just gonna say this, and I know you've heard this before. This can be intimidating if you're a rookie. Any exercise, class, group activity. What do you do to ensure that someone who's never done it before doesn't feel like, oh, I can't do this?
Okay, so first of all, most people who are doing yoga for the first time aren't doing it live on TV. So that makes a huge difference.
Okay, there might be that, right?
But I think it's just the atmosphere that we've created at the studio. Everyone who's there is very welcoming. There's a non-judgmental environment or attitude.
You go out for coffee together.
Yeah, we go out for coffee together after class. we've just created a community feel. And I think that it just helps people feel comfortable when they come in. I have a few students that I call my welcome committee. They're always there to like show everybody around and help them find their props and everything. And so I know that it can be really intimidating to try something new for the very first time. And I hope that like doing things like this help people see us and feel a little bit more comfortable giving it a try.
Like, I want to give this a try. I mean, even in these just few short minutes, like, this feels good.
Come on down.
I mean, you're right
We're
there.
right down
I
the
have
street.
Zero excuses.
Let's go back to our hands and knees. We're going to slide those blocks out of the way and give something else a try here real quick before we have to wrap up. We're going to do the kind of quintessential yoga pose, the downward facing dog. So we're going to slide the hands forward, just about a handprint or so. They're going to be just out in front of your shoulders. Spread your fingers out wide so that you can see the color of your mat between your fingers. Tuck your toes under. And then you're going to make an upside down V shape with your body. So you're going to press your hips back and up and press forward with your hands. Angie, I know you like dogs, and I always tell my students to think about when you see your dog do this, how like they look like they're just in pure bliss.
They are happy.
So you can stretch a little bit forward with your arms, push back through your heels, and just enjoy that full body stretch. And try not to worry about whether you are doing it right or you're doing it wrong or how it looks when you're doing it. It's really about how it feels in your body. So if it feels really good, you're doing it right.
It feels really good.
Nice. Well, we'll take one more breath here and let's start to just walk our feet all the way back up to the front of the mat. Good. One more big breath to lengthen out the spine. And then folding forward one more time. This time we're going to reverse swan dive. So we're going to come all the way up to stand. Those arms are going to reach up over your head. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart. Let's just relax the shoulders down and just for a moment, drop your gaze. And before we wrap up, bring some awareness back to your breath. Just notice your breath in and your breath out. The length of your breath, the depth of your breath, the different qualities of your breath. Is it rough? Is it smooth?
We need you to come on our Friday Lives every week, please.
I'm here for it.
I love this.
Awesome.
I love this. And by the way, shout out to Jay Nicole, downtown New Albany. This clip-in little pony here stayed in. That's the only thing that I was worried about. I mean, if it would fall out, it would fall out. I love to have hair with my TV, have fun with my TV hair, as I like to call it. It stayed. Yay, it stayed. I just won't wear it when I'm actually coming. I think I'm going to make a commitment because 30 days of just doing it and integrating it into a routine. And I know, I mean, you've espoused the benefits forever.
You just have to make a habit of it.
Carrie, you are going to stick around with us, and we're actually going to bring Carrie back into the kitchen coming up soon. Seriously, look at that. I mean, that has not gone anywhere. I'm feeling happy. Thank you, Jennifer Kennedy and Jay Nicole. But now we said that today we're moving. And so we've kept with the theme of health, your mental health, your physical health, and all the different properties that go along with what Carrie is teaching us today. But we also sent Addie Miners, our reporter. She's new to Southern Indiana, and so we have a segment that's called Explore with Addie. Check out where we sent her that fits in with the theme of today's Extol Live.
What's going on, guys? Addie Miners here, back with another Explore with Addie. And today we are at Mount St. Francis Hiking Trail, which is completely free to the public and a great place to come, take a little walk, and unwind. Let's check it out. Mount St. Francis is the home to a beautiful 400-acre nature sanctuary with 11 different trails, all at different lengths and difficulties. It's free and open to the public 7 days a week from dawn to dusk. Dogs are allowed but must stay on a leash, and there is no fishing allowed. Okay guys, this walk is so beautiful. I love all of the peaceful nature sounds. It's very quiet and serene. A great place to reflect. Take some time by yourself and just take a deep breath. Also, it's pretty shaded. You can see the sun hitting me a little bit here right now, but it's pretty shaded for most of the hike and not a lot of sun, which is really nice while it's really hot outside. For more information, visit their website, mountstfrancis.org. So I just got finished with my hike here. I did trail number 3, but there is tons of trails here. I think like I saw almost up to 10. So there's plenty of trails that you can try out, varying in difficulty. So if you're a little bit, not really into exercise, you just want a nice peaceful walk, there are trails for you. And if you, like some challenge, there's trails for you too. If you can see, I'm a little bit sweaty here. It is very hot outside, but overall, it was great. I loved it. Very peaceful, very, it was beautiful. It was really great. So I highly suggest coming to check out Mount St. Francis hiking trails. So now I'm gonna go find some air conditioning to stop sweating. You guys stay tuned for more Explore with Addie.
All right, that right there is what I call vegan goodness. So if you joined us earlier, that's the finished product, JD, right there. It's a great bowl. I don't like regular pasta other than as a splurge. This with the cognac flour, the oat fiber, I got it from Seeds and Greens down in downtown New Albany. It's light and delicious.
Can't
And
wait
how does
to
it
try
smell?
it. It smells amazing. So
Okay.
what's the spice? This right here.
That's my dollar store spice.
It's good. It
But I
smells
do.
really
I
good.
like a Mrs. Dash, but I always go for the generic, whether that's at Kroger or I stopped by that new Dollar General that's there on Spring Street.
So what's pretty amazing, I mean, this is beautiful to look at as well. It smells good. I'm sure it tastes good, but someone I know has a tendency to bring donuts to places, and I would love to eat like this every day, but I have no willpower. I don't know how people, do you do that?
I don't know
Do you
about
have willpower against?
Who
I don't know.
I am guilty of bringing donuts here, but I'm stopping by some of the most amazing places in Southern Indiana. They're institutions, Honey Cream Donuts, been here for 85 years,
I'm not mad at it.
etc. I just don't eat them because I have pre-diabetes and I'm a vicarious eater, and there's
Yeah.
something wrong.
I have
with
no
all
willpower,
this.
and they're all delicious, by the way.
But notice I did not bring that today.
I know, and this is how I'm going to
But all
stay
the
on my
healthy
diet today.
stuff. We'll bring some fruit and those kinds of things. We always do have like little snackies in the corner. We've got a whole cabinet here. But we asked Carrie Klaus from Element Yoga and Ayurvedic Wellness to stick around with us because, Carrie, this is the other portion. You just shared with us the yoga aspect, but talk about what else you do.
Yeah, so Ayurveda is very much a lifestyle. It's considered the sister science of yoga. It kind of developed on the Indian subcontinent around the same time as yoga. And it's really considered to be India's sort of health and wellness system. And we're here in the kitchen today because a lot of Ayurveda revolves around diet and digestion, how we digest our food and how we get the most nutrition and the most nutrients out of the food. Angie shared a bowl that she likes, and we're going to do a bowl dish here too as well. So one of the things about Ayurvedic nutrition is that we get all 6 tastes. Ayurveda is a system that uses as its foundation the 5 elements of air, ether, fire, water, and earth. That's why we named our yoga studio Element Yoga. And Ayurveda says that all of the different tastes of food contain some of those elements. And in order to have a well-balanced meal, we have to have all of those 5 elements in our meal through the taste. So we want to include all 6 tastes. The 6 tastes are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, and pungent. And if we can get all 6 of those tastes in a meal, we'll feel satisfied. And so that's what we're going to do with our dish today.
Okay, so maybe, because we love trivia, I don't have my buzzer here right now, but JD, can you guess? So is this kale?
This is kale.
Where
Kale.
would that fall within those?
6 tastes: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, astringent, pungent.
I'm going to say it is bitter.
It is bitter. It's also astringent. Astringent are the things that kind of dry you up a little bit. If you think about when you pop a pomegranate seed in your mouth
Yes.
and like you get that really dry feeling in your mouth, anything that does that is an astringent flavor. So the dark leafy greens.
I'm going back to the astringent when I was a teenager breaking out, but that's what it was supposed to do. So, okay, so that's good for your health as well.
Right, and especially in the summertime, we talked about how hot it is out. So obviously, if we're talking about 5 elements, summertime is fire, it's hot, and it's also water. It's moist and humid. And so we want to dry it up in the summertime with some astringent ingredients.
Okay, so what goes first on the bottom of that?
So I don't do that in a layer. I do it in piles, actually. So
I
we
love
have
that.
a grain, a green, and we have a vegetable. And these will all kind of help fill in those 6 tastes. And the way that we get all of the 6 tastes, because we can't get them all with food, is by using culinary spices. So I've prepared some quinoa here. And in the quinoa, I've added a mixture of fennel, coriander, and turmeric to flavor the quinoa. And that helps us get some of the flavors that we can't get through the food, because we don't want to have 6 different foods in our bowl.
Right.
So the way that I do this is to make it into piles in the bowl. So I'll put a little pile of whatever grain I'm using. You can use anything. I chose quinoa today because it's a very light grain. And in the summertime, we tend to want to keep things a little bit
Nice and
lighter.
light.
Yep. And then I just steamed some kale. I like to keep it pretty green and still pretty crisp, but to make it a little bit easier to chew, it can be kind of tough if it's not cooked in some way. When you steam it, it kind of makes it a little bit softer.
I've done a lot of things with kale. I can't tell you that I've steamed it
That's
to that
almost
consistency.
always how I do is steam.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's not mush. Sometimes if you over
I don't
steam it,
like
it just
that.
becomes mush. And then I'll do a little pile of the sweet potatoes here. So I'll do 3 or 4 piles, just depending on what I'm putting in the dish. Obviously, the sweet potato is our sweet flavor, but it's also an astringent flavor as well.
I could have guessed that one too.
Yeah, that one's pretty
Ding, ding,
easy.
ding.
So this is kind of the base of the
Okay.
dish. And then everything else I think of just as sort of accoutrement to the dish.
Right.
I'm going to use a little bit of beet. So these are just roasted beets. They have a little bit of vinegar on top of them. Beet is another sweet flavor, but the vinegar gives them a little bit of the sour taste as well. And then I like to use a little bit of sauerkraut, actually. And I use raw sauerkraut.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah, I like the brands
I'm
called
curious.
Bubbies, but there are a lot of different raw sauerkrauts out there. And you don't need a lot of the sour taste. It really is just a condiment. Are your fingers pink now?
I'll do that on
So we put a little bit of the sauerkraut on there as well.
Wait, Carrie, talk about how you made those beets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to use my fingers, but that's delicious.
They're roasted in the oven. So I buy the beets usually at the farmer's market. I keep the skins on. I just cut the greens off. I wrap it all up in aluminum foil, stick it in the oven, 400 to 450, just until it's soft. I am not a professional chef. And so I'm one of these cooks that just like throws in a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I bake it in the oven until I can stick a knife in it. And then when it comes out, actually, if you let it cool off and then run it under the running water in the faucet, the skin will just peel off of it. You don't have to cut it or anything. They'll just peel off. Once I do that, I just drizzle them with a little bit of vinegar.
Any
Balsamic vinegar is what I like to use, but you can use any kind of vinegar.
Oh, that is
They
good.
are good. Yep.
Sauerkraut, JD?
Yeah, we'll see.
And that's raw sauerkraut, so it hasn't been cooked. It's just the cabbage that's been soaking in a little bit of salt and water. So the sauerkraut gives us the sour flavor,
Yeah, that's good.
but it also gives us the salty flavor. It's not very easy to get the salty flavor without added salt, and I don't like to use a lot of added salt, although mineral salt I will use from time to time. And then I put avocado on almost everything just because.
Okay, we want to get a close up on this. For those of you who have not utilized I'm going to call it an avocado weapon. That's what this is.
I think maybe tool is a better.
It's a weapon in our house because, I mean, when you use a knife, all the different things that can go wrong. I mean,
I've known a couple of people that have sliced their hand by cutting an avocado.
You have to
open
be
with a
extremely
knife.
careful,
Right.
but okay, so this is what we should be using.
Yeah, so the Avocado Tool has a little appendage that you can use to slice the avocado in half. So it's plastic, so it won't cut you. So you just cut around the avocado in that way. When you twist it off, one side will be without a pit. The other side will have the pit. It has a little pit grabber in the middle here with some kind of fork tine type things on it. You just stick it on there and twist it, and it peels the pit of the avocado out. And then it actually has the slicer too, so you get even slices of avocado. I always start at the wider end.
Okay.
Just push it down in there, and as you swipe it through, it slices the avocado.
Do you use one of those, JD?
I don't cook.
And then you can just place that anywhere in your bowl. So I might make that as like a fourth pile because I think of avocado as its very own food group.
Oh, I love it.
So we just put that on there. And then I've made a little bit of dressing that we put over the top. And the dressing is just tahini, which is sesame seed paste, kind of like peanut butter, but made with sesame seeds. A little bit of, just a little squeeze of lemon juice and a little dash of soy sauce, again, to get the salty flavor in there. And you just mix that up with a fork. It thickens up as you go. So sometimes you'll have to add just a little bit of water to it. Just drizzle that over the top. And that's the bowl. I call this the 6 taste bowl because it includes all 6 of the tastes that Ayurveda recommends. Quinoa has a good amount of protein in it, but if you need to add more protein, I know you like chickpeas, Angie, some roasted chickpeas are really nice. If you do eat animal protein, a little bit of grilled or roasted chicken on the side, a little bit of like white fish or seafood. Ayurveda says that in the summertime, we want to keep even the meats that we eat a little bit lighter as well. So chicken or seafood. And then the spice mix.
Is that?
Well, this is the fennel, coriander, and turmeric spice mix that I used in the quinoa, but you can also use it kind of the same way that you would use salt and just sprinkle over the top for a little added flavor.
The turmeric properties, I have 2 books, and one is How Not to Die. They're both written by doctors, and another one is Eat to Live, and turmeric is talked about over and over again in both books. JD?
Twist my arm.
If you heard him, I asked if he does these kinds of things at home, and he just simply said he doesn't cook.
But I do eat.
A husband who is the cook of the house. So here, I'll hold this for you since you didn't grow another arm. Carrie, this is amazing. And again, if people want more information about Element Yoga and Ayurvedic wellness, where's the best place to find it?
Our website, that's elementyoga.me, M-E. So find us
Nice
at
and easy.
elementyoga.me. Yeah.
Oh, you just did the silent little fork dance. That's a thumbs up in our house.
I hope so. The dressing really makes it.
That's so good.
Oh, well, Carrie, we appreciate you coming on and taking the time to teach us on this. Yes, I am going to commit to yoga.
Yes.
I'm just not going to wear my little Jane Nicole sassy girl. This one's my girl.
If I could add one more thing. If
my goodness, party.
Yes,
Yes.
if anyone else wants to join us for yoga and you're just kind of curious what we're all about or you'd like to see our space, tomorrow on Saturday, we're having a community celebration. It's open to the entire community. It's from 4 to 7 p.m. We're going to have a free yoga class from 2 to 3. So if you'd like to check out yoga, you can come yoga with me from 2 to 3. Then from 4 to 7, we're going to have Fistful of Tacos down at the studio. We're going to have a live bluegrass band. Steve Cooley's a local bluegrass musician who's pretty big on the bluegrass scene. He's going to be joining us. We're going to have some local vendors having some of their goods set up. We'll have a henna tattoo artist. We're going to have a bouncy house for the kids.
My goodness.
So just a big community celebration that happens from 4 to 7 tomorrow.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we appreciate that. We'll share that again and look forward to being there. Now, to end the show again, thanks for joining us for Extol Live, sponsored by Cutter Woodworking and NWSB, otherwise known as New Washington State Bank. We want to thank Carrie for joining us. JD's still eating. I know he's happy that he was here with us. We have Mila behind the camera. We have Fred, who's here. Jason's here. We're missing Colin and Addie. We sent her exploring, so eventually she'll make her way back to Extol Studios next week. It's going to be jam-packed Fridays at 11 o'clock, but join us for Treat Yourself Tuesday, where you get a treat from a local business, and this time, it's going to be Regalo, which JD and his sister Laura Applegate both co-own along with John Friels. But before we go, this week, a year ago, Jim Robinson was a man in the community that the Extol team did not know, but lots of people knew him and loved him. And sadly, he and his fiance died in a helicopter crash. Well, long story short, somehow his cat made his way to our Extol Studios. And so we just want to send our hearts out to the family and friends of Jim and let them know that while it's nothing big, we are taking care of Jim's cat Gizmo and are just absolutely thrilled that Gizzy is a part of the Extol team. So you can take a look. Again, join us for Extol Live next Friday. Have a wonderful weekend.
Meet Gizmo. Gizmo is our 15-year-old, 18-pound cat that we adopted last year. His previous owner passed away, and when we heard Gizmo's story, we decided to take him in as our office cat. You may have seen Gizmo from our Catterday posts, features in our live stream, or visiting us here at Extol. Gizmo has a very important job. His activities include sleeping, playing with his penguin toy, and his favorite thing, eating treats. Gizmo is also a chatty cat, and he wishes you a happy Friday.